As y'all can see, I'm staking my tomatoes. I'm hoping my T-post puncher is gonna fit all these R's one by twos. They were a buck a piece. I got 2 bundles, 24, cut them all in half at an angle, and I'm gonna use those for my tomato steaks. My mom asked me, "You got all that land, don't you have sticks out there you can use for tomato steaks?" Yeah, I do. I don't have time to get them. It's finding time. You have to have time to do certain things. 50 cents a steak, and I'll repurpose them after we're done with them. These will work just fine. I'm gonna get my T-post puncher. I'm gonna show y'all my T-post puncher. This is a homemade T-post puncher. I had some scrap square tubing, rebar, fuel line, and a big heavy hunk of metal. I welded rebar on both sides for the handles, put some glue on it and slid the fuel line on there so it's rubber grips, and that hunk of metal on there, that's just like a sledgehammer. Works real good. I haven't tried it on these pieces of wood to see if they're gonna fit in there, but I hope they do. We'll see. Y'all, be careful with your T-post puncher. He will knock you upside the head and let you know he's the boss and you're not. That's still gonna hit me upside the head. I worked with him then. He didn't like the way I was using him, so he knocked me upside the head. So I changed the way I was using him. But anyway, y'all, you look at this road. Oh Lord. I am not in the straightest row contest. I'm not in the most level tomato steak contest. These plants could care less if those steaks are in a row or if one's higher than the other. So it doesn't matter. All those plants are worried about is having something to hang on to and hold them up once they get a little bit higher. That's all they're worried about. They just want something to hold them up. And actually, I mean, the tomato plant's a vine. So I'm going to show you how I stake these tomato plants. If you look, oh Lord, if you look, there's a tomato plant, there's a stake. You don't want to put your tomato plant anywhere near where those roots are on that freshly planted tomato plant. You put them over here. By the time that tomato plant gets up enough to where it needs support, you'll have plenty of room to lean it over and tie it off. Don't ever tie your plant tight because your plant's gonna grow. Tie it loosely onto the stake just to hold it upright. And I've done that on every one of these, gave it room. You don't want to interfere with the root system of your baby tomato plants. And see, all these tomato plants, they're still green. That's a good sign. But yeah, look at that row. Woo, it's crooked as heck. And look at the heights. Woo, they ain't nothing the same. But they're there. And that's all that matters. I sure hope we're gonna have some good tomatoes out of this row. And I'm gonna show y'all yesterday. I planted 2 little half rows of corn. I didn't have no power to record anything. You can't hardly tell, but that row and that row I planted in corn, and I prepared it the same way I did the row with the tomatoes. Fertilize deep, cover it up, plant the seed on top. By the time the seed creates roots and they get down, the fertilize will be there for them, waiting on them on the bottom. That's the way my daddy did it, and I'm sure that's the way his daddy did it, and that's the way I'm doing it. Now, there's an area by the camper that I'm cutting the trees, and I'm gonna have a back to nature garden. From what I hear, all this back to Eden is mimicking the woods. You're putting wood chips in. Well, I don't have to mimic the woods. I actually have woods that I'm planning on. There's a section behind my camper that I'm planning on clearing out anyway. So this year, I'm clearing those trees out, and I'm planting straight in the ground, no fertilizer, no nothing. I'm gonna use the stalks of the trees to actually string the beans up, and that's gonna be an awesome experiment. And it's definitely gonna be 100% back to nature gardening. So that's gonna be a playlist all its own. I'm hoping this weekend I'll be able to get some of that stuff cut, and I'm cutting the trees, and it's a bunch of privet hedge. I'm cutting them about neck high. I'm leaving the stalks, and I'm gonna use the stalks to string the beans, and I'm gonna have some tomatoes and peppers and everything out there. I'm actually having to pump sunlight into my camper to run my solar panels. But it's all good. One step at a time, right? You just gotta keep pushing forward. Oh, I looked around, no deer tracks. No armadillo holes, no nothing in this garden so far. I'm seriously thinking about putting a scarecrow out here. You know what'd be cool? I'm gonna tell you a little story. This ain't got nothing to do with gardening. I used to be really into Halloween. And the house, I used to decorate my house for Halloween. Well, about 3 years in a row, I did a Jeepers Creepers theme. And I took a big old remote control 4-wheel drive truck apart, completely apart. And I made a monster that looked like Jeepers Creepers. Well, I put that remote control truck in the body of that monster, and I had the steer tires rigged to his feet, and the drive tires I had in his chest, and I put a little thing on there that was off center and put a weight on there, so when you hit drive, the whole thing just started, it sounded like it was growling. And when you steered it, his feet went back and forth, hanging up on the side of my house. We had people lined up around the block coming to get candy at my house. It was awesome. There's a lot of folks out there that remember that. That we had a ball out there, but that was a whole nother time. But I put a scarecrow out here, have a solar panel on it, and a motion detector. And if any deer come out here, I'll make it growl. We might have to try that. Well, y'all, here's another garden update. I'm fixing to head back to the camper. The T-post puncher done knocked me in the head. I'm fixing to go relax. Y'all have a good one. We'll see you next time.